you!
Yes, you! If you like what you see, please hit the like, subscribe, share button, click the bell to all notifications on if you want to know every single time I upload. I play video games, I do funny videos, I am an absolute crazy ranting crazy person. Please share to Twitter, Facebook, Blogger, I still don't know what the crap Blogger is, and enjoy the video. You just had to do it, Alex Kurtzman. You just couldn't leave Captain Janeway alone, could you? Hello everyone, I am Mecha Random 42, the one, the only, the original, your favorite YouTube consumer, advocate, Harpy, the Star Trek fans, you know, the ones with We Are Starfleet and their little hashtags.
We're Starfleet.
Those people are the ones who call me a Harpy because, why? Because I pay attention to what I'm shown. I actually watch the new modern day Star Trek, at least I did up until like the last few episodes of Lower Decks, because let's face it, Lower Decks is not good Star Trek. We know it's not good Star Trek. It's bad Star Trek. It is just member berries. It is just references. You know it. I know it. We all know it.
Yeah, you know, it's not just for hanging with Sherlock Holmes and Robin Hood and Sigmund Freud and Cyrano de Bergerac and Einstein and Da Vinci and Stephen Hawking and Socrates. Oh, yeah.
Choo-choo!
Evasive pattern Sulu Alpha.
Oh, come on!
Yeah, you're not missing anything if you don't watch it. And they have another animated series in the works. They've been a little odd about who these are for. They've been a little odd. And why do I use the word odd? Because sometimes they're for grown-ups, sometimes they're not. And if you guys do like my content,
please like the video if you liked it. If you didn't like it, keep your comments to yourself.
Sometimes we get Brie-bombed. It's okay, she'll go away as long as you don't mention her. I am a one-woman show, though, and I don't have massive Facebook groups or anybody, so commenting, sharing wherever you can, mentioning me, remembering me, that really, really helps. What doesn't help is when I have to lose my sanity over these Star Trek announcements. Now, what did they announce today? I totally forgot this was happening because I'm just so checked out of modern-day Star Trek because of how bad it's been. Because it's been nothing but cringe, bad, anti-Star Trek, basically, is the best way I can put it. And what they do with specifically the female characters, I've got a video I'm working on that was going to go up this morning until they dropped this news. By morning, I mean 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They dropped this news about an hour ago. We have more animated Star Trek coming, and I knew about this. According to the plot synopsis, it's supposed to be a bunch of lawless teens in space that find a starship and then go off and explore. Well, now, I don't know if they're changing that or if they've just announced this as a giant member berry cameo appearance. But Alex Kurtzman is back. This is on his official Twitter. Don't bother him, don't at him. I probably shouldn't even quote tweet how disgusted I am with what they've been doing with female characters lately. What are they doing with Star Trek Prodigy? She asks, as if you guys didn't already read the thumbnail.
This captain was asked to embody an inhuman level of perfection in order to be accepted as good enough to the doubters, but showed them all what it means to be truly outstanding.
Nobody doubted her. Nobody doubted her. Everybody was like, oh, new captain? And it's a woman this time. Cool. Awesome. It's about time. And that was in the 90s. Alex Kurtzman. We already liked Janeway. We already liked her. This is why I'm saying Janeway. You saw it on the thumbnail. It's not like we're hiding anything.
We can think of no better captain to inspire the next generation of dreamers than this one.
Because Cisco wouldn't do it, would he? Would he? Or is he just too toxic? He's a male. Is that it? And when you ask me who my favorite captain is, I usually bounce between Cisco and Janeway. Depending on what mood I'm in, depending on what I'm talking about. 20 years ago, 100% Janeway was my favorite. But what I don't understand is this show is supposed to be these lawless teens in space who find a ship. Are you gonna not have a captain, or is this just going to be a launching point? That's what I'm concerned with. That's what I'm wondering. Is it something where they couldn't market it without having a name attached to it? Something that people want. Because they've seen what happened with stuff like Discovery, having to bring in, I hate bringing this up, but they had to go in the second season and bring in some familiar characters now, didn't they? Because nobody was watching it.
I like science.
And that's when it got, I guess, a little bit, I mean, it's still bad, but it got a little better because at least it has all of the cringe moments. And I'm not defending Discovery. It's still a bad show. Thanks to this person right here who doesn't know anything about Star Trek.
Permission to come aboard?
Ladies and gentlemen, the star of Star Trek Prodigy, Kate Mulgrew, as Captain Catherine Janeway.
So you're reducing her to captain from Admiral. Thanks. Did you guys forget?
Admiral Janeway, how good to see you again.
Oh yeah, so you're reducing her in rank, or did she demote herself because she was more interested in being out there? That's what I'm wondering. Or is this going to be a camp because he's saying she's the star? But we know not to believe a word they say.
Welcome home, Kate.
Virtual greetings, and well done you, Alex Kurtzman, and the...
Now, who are these other guys? This is from their little panel from the New York Comic-Con at-home panel that was going on today.
Hageman brothers, for having the foresight to understand that Star Trek will captivate the imaginations of young people.
It never didn't. It was never saying it wasn't okay. Only until recently. It was only recently with this crap that we learned that Star Trek was not for everybody. It used to always. I was never too young for Star Trek. My first experience with Star Trek was seeing Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home in the theater when I was in 2nd grade. Give or take, might have been 3rd. Can't remember exactly which year. It was like 87? I can't remember what grade I was in then. I remember the year from Star Trek, though. And like I said, it never excluded young people. We got it. And the fact that they have to go out of their way, they have the audacity to think that they need to dumb down whatever they're doing just to appeal to all ages is maddening, because what we're getting is so incredibly dumb. I mean, for crying out loud, people.
This is the power of math, people!
Exactly. So what we've already got with the quote-unquote grown-up adult versions of Star Trek is just a bunch of people swearing.
Sheer fucking hubris.
And a bunch of bang bang shoot 'em up. 7 of 9 turning into a murderer. What about that? What about all of these interactions between Janeway and Seven to get Seven to grow as a character, to grow as a person, as a human? To realize, hey, you're not going to be perfect because you're not a Borg anymore, but you still are kind of. But you're not in the hive, and you're going to have to accept the fact that you're just going to be human like the rest of us with a few enhancements and upgrades. What about all of that? Oh, no, who cares? Now she just goes on a murder spree, mowing down everybody in the hallway because science.
I like science.
No one asked you, Spock. We already liked it when we were young.
And when Alex Kurtzman called me, over a year ago now, I think.
Yeah, over a year ago. That was probably around the time of Star Trek Las Vegas when they learned that nobody cared about Lower Decks because there was only 3 people at the panel and we were all from YouTube. It was me, Midnight's Edge, and Trek Yards at the Lower Decks panel. Those are the only people there asking any questions, only people who actually wanted to even give it a shot. Look how well that turned out. And they had to attach somebody to this Prodigy show because nobody wanted to show about a bunch of Lullasines in space that find a starship, because you know what's going to happen. A beacon is going to signal any other ship in the area, and they're going to go and rescue their ship because just a bunch of dumb kids can't go in and take the starship. You need a minimum of how many people? Correct me on this one in the comments. It's been a while since I've known exactly every single fact of everything. But you need a minimum amount of people even to fly a starship. It's not a one-woman show.
Ding! To propose this idea, I have to tell you that I was at first a little bit uncertain. After all, I had played her for 7 years.
After seeing Kate Mulgrew speak at Star Trek Las Vegas, you're better than this. You really, do you need a job that bad? But do we really need to soil any more characters at this point? Because I'm just disappointed.
I had invested every scintilla of my being in that woman. And I thought, an animated version of Janeway? But even as I was talking to Kurtzman on the phone, long dormant longings to restore her started to stir.
To restore her, ugh.
I can go into a recording booth, which I love to do. I can now endow her with nuances that I didn't do before.
I can see from an acting standpoint that you want to explore different aspects of the character after all of these years. And I'm sure that the price was right. I'm sure that was part of it. I don't like how they destroyed 7 of 9. I don't want to know what they're going to do to Janeway in these, because every time they do something to insult pre-Kurtzman Star Trek, look at Lower Decks, every time, like, people are like, oh, just pretend it's its own thing. I can't when every 5 seconds is, remember this, remember that, ding, ding, ding. Because that's what goes off in my head when I watch it is, wait a minute, that's a reference to this. Wait a minute. And it stops the immersion. When I'm constantly reminded of something I like more that this is supposed to be, but it's not supposed to be. And that's going to be what the problem is with this. It is probably going to be just a dumbed down version of Lower Decks, which is already a dumbed down version of Star Trek to begin with.
Because I will have the privacy and freedom of a recording booth. And we can take it to unlimited places.
In theory, that would be a great idea if you had people who were not Alex Kurtzman behind the scenes. Do they need a celebrity attachment to this, like an actual Star Trek person attached? That has to be it, because they were not announcing anybody. I think a year ago at Star Trek Las Vegas, they didn't even know what the crap they were doing. They were just like, we'll do animated shows. We'll do all this stuff and this and this and this. Just so that they can keep their contract going longer. That's what it feels like to me. Like, this is just a bunch of corporate crap just to keep their contracts going longer. Because the longer they have these shows in development, that's more stuff they can put on their resume. And that's more money that they can make as a producer. They probably gave her producer credit. I wouldn't doubt that. But that's more money that people like Alex Kurtzman can come in and get. Just grifting off of Star Trek fans who are so desperate for anything Star Trek that they will watch it. That's what it is. And I wouldn't be watching this stuff if I didn't have a YouTube channel. As much of a Star Trek fan as I am, lifelong Star Trek fan, from as long as I can remember. Like elementary school, which is why I say, we never thought it wasn't for us. That's the problem. Just because I saw Captain Picard, I never thought a woman couldn't be a captain because he had female admirals who outranked him. That is the problem with this modern day Star Trek and this modern day idealism, is that just because you think in your little narrow mind, Alex Kurtzman and all your little righteous Puritans who like to claim that they're on the right side of history by promoting violence and revenge and all of the bad things that we were supposed to be evolved beyond, right? All of those people don't understand that we never felt we were excluded. Same thing with like Ghostbusters. Just because the main Ghostbusters in the original movie were guys, I never felt like I couldn't be a Ghostbuster. That was never the message I got. Just because I didn't see it on screen, just because I don't look like Ernie Hudson, does not mean that I didn't feel like I could grow up and be a Ghostbuster and learn about EMF detectors and paranormal investigation and parapsychology and all those things. Same thing with Star Trek. Just because I didn't see Janeway, I never felt women couldn't be captains. It was nice to see it once it finally happened, but I understood that they can only show one captain, one character, one crew at a time. I understood that about the universe, and if you saw other guest characters come in and like, oh, and there's a female captain off on that thing, and it wasn't a big deal. And it wasn't a big deal back then because we just were. All of this modern day first world separation problems, I do honestly label it as first world problems. You got nothing else to complain about, so you got to start picking apart and separating everybody. That's what it feels like to me.
And then I thought, I was the first female captain, and now I'm going to be the first children's captain.
Children's captain. Star Trek was never something kids couldn't watch until recently, and that is the biggest problem. Just letting it go, just letting Voyager stay, just letting Janeway stay as this iconic character, because every time they bring in one of these older characters, what do they do with them? For crying out loud!
You are the very model of a modern Major General.
Shut the fuck up.
And I know I play the same 5 clips over and over again because they prove the point the best about what is wrong with this show and these shows. What are you going to give me that's going to be any better? You're not. You're not. You're just attaching this as a cash grab. Shame on you, Alex Kurtzman. We don't need this. Can't you move off and destroy Silence of the Lambs? What happened to that one? You're supposed to be doing a Clarice show. So you're doing a show about serial killers, and then you're doing a show for kids at the same time. I don't need to watch any more of this. If you want to, he's on his Twitter. If you're not blocked, I mean, I've been blocked by CBS. I'm not blocked by Alex Kurtzman, though, oddly enough. How many of you watched it when you were young? Just tell me in the comment section below. We already watched this. I was in high school. I was probably 14, give or take, when Voyager started. Give or take. I think you're still missing the mark on what we want from Star Trek. And shame on you, Alex Kurtzman. And normally, under any other circumstances, I would have been okay with this had we had the right people involved. All those people who are over on the Orville right now, because the Orville's knocking it out of the park. But you're still going to have that stink of Kurtzman on it, and you're still going to have this false message that Star Trek wasn't for everybody back then. And now they're saying that, yes, you can watch this with everybody. Everybody in from 5 to 50 is going to be watching this one. That's what Star Trek should have been in the first place. That's what Picard should have been. That's what Discovery should have been. There was no need to attach all of the M-rated stuff to it that excluded all of your younger fan base, because Star Trek was something that people watched with their families. I watched it with my mother. It's a little bit uncomfortable to watch some of the Klingon scenes with my mother when the Klingon lady is on top of Ash Tyler having her way with him against his will. And I'm not showing you a picture of that because I'll be demonetized. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. I am MechaRandom42, and I'll see you guys later. Bye. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!
525,600 spin-offs. Shut the fuck up.